8:25, welcome back. We're talking all about molds. Maybe you're buying a property in the upcoming season, signs of what to look for. If you have mold in your own residence, how do you get rid of it? Sean Moss, certified mold inspector, joining us. Great to have you back here on the show. What are the first signs that there are mold, especially if you're buying a property? What do you want to look for?
Well, if you're buying a property, one of the first things to do is to ask the real estate agent, has this home been vacant for a long time? If so, if there's any type of staining, any type of signs of moisture damage, a past flood, those types of things are really important because mold can actually start growing within 24 to 48 hours. So it's really important to understand that stuff.
And with the rubber hoses, I guess this is a common location where you might see some type of staining. What do you want to look for with the hoses?
Oh yeah, so here we have a hose that's about to burst, okay? And when that happens, it's going to be a big problem because these hoses are under pressure. So when they're rubberized, they actually they start to disintegrate, especially on the warm side. So what a lot of insurance companies are now saying is you got to use steel braided hoses because that'll help prevent that. So it's really important.
And what's the difference if you have a surface stain versus you have a serious mold problem, especially around the rubber hoses?
Well, with that, it would be in the laundry room usually. And if you see just a little bit of staining, you want to use something like this, which is a moisture meter.
I'll hold this up, yeah.
And you can use that or have somebody come in to test to see if there's a high moisture reading. Now, if you see actual mold growth, then we need to get rid of it for sure.
And when you say actually see mold growth, we have a couple of examples, and we can jump ahead to the different types of mold. There's black mold. What are you actually looking for physically? I mean, condensation is one factor of what you want to avoid. All moisture. Bathrooms, keep the vents on. If you're cooking in the kitchen, use the vent. But tell us about this and where you would most commonly find this type of black mold.
Well, this type of mold it's typical on a wall out by an exterior wall, for example, where it's cold, okay? So what happens is the dust sits there, and then if there's any moisture through condensation or anything like that, then it'll start to grow, and you can see that. So that's a problem there, and it should be dealt with. And you want to keep the house dry, and you want to take away all the different types of debris and dust and everything like that.
Those are good tips for the actual prevention to keep the mold out altogether. And if you run into a situation where you have the black mold, or some people call it white mold, I believe, or dry mold that also pops up, what do you do in this situation where you know it's there? How do you fix the problem altogether?
What you need to do is you need to get a remediation company that comes in and removes it properly and cleans it off, makes sure that it is properly sanitized, and then it's gone, and then get them to guarantee that their work is done properly. That's really the easiest way to deal with it. So,
how many times do you see the common quick fix? Because I can anticipate, okay, there's a bit of mold. Someone might think, okay, it's dried up. I'm just going to paint over it. Maybe that'll fix the problem. Is that just a common myth that you want to avoid because that problem could just come back?
Absolutely. You don't want to paint over mold. If you paint over the mold, it doesn't really do anything because if it gets wet again, it'll start to grow again. So the real key issue with mold is if you see it, just get rid of it. What you can do, though, is after the mold has been completely cleaned out, dry it off, and then you can put on an anti-mold or antimicrobial paint, and you can find that online.
Okay, well, you've got plenty of resources online. Moldinsight.com is the website. You can learn more about it. Obviously, we want to avoid it altogether, Sean.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate you coming by.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a break. More